Laowa 8-16 super wide angle lens for APS-C. This is a brand new lens. My name is Thomas and we're gonna try out this lens on a Fuji X-E4. Again, I'm super thrilled and excited. This super wide lens, I rarely shoot them, so let's have a go now. Okay, handling, fit and finish. This lens is sold as a sort of budget lens. Well, it's not a 0D or something like that. It's more a general purpose travel sort of lens. That's what Laowa intends to do here. But still the fit and the finish is very, very nice. It's all solid metal, comes with a beautiful bayonet lens hood. And I love that the inside of the bayonet here is plastic, so it will never wear out. This piece here, when you mount or unmount, it comes with a pretty positive click. The lens is sort of internal focusing down to 0.2 meters, which is actually pretty far if you ask me for a wide angle lens. It doesn't have a hard stop at, well, it has a hard stop at infinity, but I found that already 1 meter is like infinity. Here is the zoom ring, and as you can see, internally the lens elements move back and forth. So this is 16 millimeter, this is 8, but from the outside the lens is sort of always the same, which is nice. We've got an aperture ring from 3.5 to 16. Of course, the setting 3.5 and 4 doesn't mean anything when you zoom out to 16, because then it's 5.0. And what's nice is it has beautiful clicks at every full stop, but you can also declick it with this thing here. And now it's clickless. In terms you want to change your aperture when filming a video. So that's nice, good for photographers and for videographers. Of course, it's a fully manual lens, no electric contacts. Keep that in mind when you're using IBIS, because whenever you change your focal length, you have to tell your camera, so the IBIS works perfectly. If in doubt, set it to 8 millimeters in your camera's menu. This camera doesn't have IBIS, so it doesn't matter. Overall, it's a very, very well-made lens. It's not super compact, but I think the size is good. It's pretty hefty, a lot of weight, but that's maybe because of the all-metal construction, well, at least from the outside. I don't know how it looks internally. Overall feels very well made and handling is very nice. Everything is on it, everything. Look how close I am. Well, my shade is also in the shot, but it just fits. Crazy. The trick is to not get the fence on the picture, but with 8 millimeters it's so hard you basically even have your feet on the picture if you don't take care. So a lot of stuff fits in one picture. One picture at 8 and one at 10 millimeters, so you see how big the difference is. Just 2 millimeters of focal length, but still a huge difference in field of view. 16 millimeter, then the pictures look like normal pictures, which is cool. So all the ultra wide focal length stuff is covered in this one lens, and it stops at 16 millimeter, which is full frame 24, and from then on your standard lens could take over, so to speak. We have to go until here, something like this.
The other front.
Oops. Wait for the car. Time for the distortion test. 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, and 16. And you will see there is a lot of distortion. At 8 or 9 millimeters, you have the sides look pretty straight, but inside there is something like this. So overall, we have a lot of moustache distortion. You have to live with that. And at 14 or 16 millimeters, it has a little bit of this, what is it called? Pincushion distortion, right? That you can correct. So, but at 8, 9, or 10 millimeters, correcting for distortion maybe doesn't work. So keep that in mind. Distortion, yes, a lot. Sharpness is good. It has a fall off to the sides. Centering quality is decent. I think if you consider the specification of the lens and the price point, this is not a professional lens. Also, Laowa has a lot of other lenses that might have a higher quality. Normally that's the 0D range that they offer. This is more like a sort of compact, affordable travel ultra-wide lens. And what we will do is compare this to your typical iPhone super wide lens, and then you will see that it still is much, much, much better than that. I shoot this at 8 and at 9 millimeter. And now the same with the iPhone. Can you hold the camera? One thing is, iPhones just do a perfect out-of-camera picture, you know. You don't have to adjust for the shadows, the highlights and stuff. Cameras always, you have to work a little bit more. Best shoot it in RAW, especially super wide. There's a lot of contrast going on, and these cameras suck in terms of JPEG out of cam compared to an iPhone, but still you can see there's so much more detail in the camera shot, and also of course so much more reserve when you tweak the colors and the contrast and the shadows and the highlights. It's still no comparison if you ask me. This lens has a 5-bladed aperture. I saw in some comment on the internet that someone was asking if that's a good idea. It makes for perfect 10-pointed sun stars. They are awesome. I really love the look of the sun stars on this lens. And a 10-bladed aperture would be a little bit more circular, you know, in terms of bokeh. But let's face it, 16 millimeter maximum focal length and f5 on APS-C. Who's talking about bokeh anyway? So here's a shot of myself at 16 millimeter f5. Yeah, it looks good, but of course the background blur is so low. It doesn't matter what sort of shape the aperture has at that point. Straylight performance, actually I think this has a pretty solid performance. Yes, of course you get some blobs of light when the sun is in your frame and stuff like that. This is a super wide lens, but overall it's pretty well controlled. So I think this is a pretty good point about this lens. You will notice in the shots that whenever there's a lot of tilted lines going on, it's a lot of drama, and it can work out very well in terms of how your image looks. And also then you don't notice all the distortion going on. So the distortion matters if you take something like up front, just parallel, you know what I mean? Like a shot like, I put one shot now in the video. There you see the distortion, but in the other shots you don't even see it. So if in doubt, well, this is more for dynamic shooting, strict architecture work. You might want to get a 0D lens from Laowa or a lens from another manufacturer. He looks like a frog. There's a person on the frame, but he's so small. He also looks very tilted at the side. That's actually, if you shoot super wide, everything towards the sides of your frame can look very weird. So keep that in mind if you place a person that you like on the side of the frame. I try to really focus on like infinity this time with the loop. And I find the best focus is a little bit past the 1 meter mark. But this is at f3.5, so you should really focus even to infinity using your loop if it's critical. If you put it to 8 or 11, it doesn't matter. It will be just sharp anyway. And again, it's just amazing how much you can fit on a frame. The 8mm is a difference compared to 10mm. If you want to shoot extreme super wide, then this makes a difference, especially when you shoot Sony, because as far as I know, the most wide lens currently available is a 9mm, and this is 8. So yes, it's even wider. Time for the verdict, and yes, the one thing is I don't know the exact price yet, the MSRP, because we shoot the video a few days before the lens is officially released, and there was no price information available yet, but I assume it's going to be in the very affordable range. Just a few days ago, there also was another super wide angle lens for APS-C announced, the Sigma 10-18 f2.8 with autofocus. So of course that lens is a cool lens, and that one sells for about $700 or euros. But again, 10mm is something completely different to 8mm. And also autofocus doesn't really matter so much, if you ask me, in a super wide lens. Having said that, by the way, this is manual focus. You're going to put it on around infinity for most of your shots, and only if you shoot really close, then you're going to focus. But again, keep in mind you have to focus, because in your viewfinder, in the EVF, you often don't even see that it's not in focus very clearly, because field of view is very big. So always keep a look on this, especially after you've shot something close up and then you go back to landscape or architecture. Okay, apart from that, image quality. The one thing I don't like is the distortion, very clear, because this mustache stuff at 8 and 9mm is really, yeah, you cannot correct it actually with any normal tool. So you have to live with it. It really depends on the type of motive, but if you want to shoot architecture a lot, this lens is not going to be for you. This is a travel lens. This is an all-round general lens just for fun, having fun with super wide angle field of view. That's what Laowa intends to do with this lens, and yes, they succeeded. At around 10 to 12 millimeters also the distortion is much lower. Keep that in mind if you have a critical motive or something like that. The handling is super good. It is a little bit on the heavy side if you ask me, considering the specification, but again, what can I say? This is the widest zoom lens ever for APS-C, so it's not like you have a lot of smaller alternatives. You do have a lot of alternatives in fixed focal length, or if you don't want an 8 or 9 millimeter lens, then there is a lot of alternatives. But overall, this is pretty unique. It was a lot of fun to shoot this lens. It's not perfect, but it can do a lot of really, really crazy stuff. So thanks for watching again. Hope you found this interesting, maybe even useful. If you did so, then please leave a like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet. And again, many thanks for the support. I really appreciate that. If you've got any questions or comments, write something in the comment section below. I love to read all your comments, you know that, and I will happily answer every single one of them. So have a great time, live long and prosper, and I see you on the next one. Bye.